afternoon. And today we have a webinar entitled Fostering the I in AI, Unlocking the Potential of AI in Education. We will see you later at 1 p.m. for the webinar. Good day from SEAMEO INNOTECH. The webinar, Fostering the I in AI, Unlocking the Potential of AI in Education, will begin at 1 p.m. afternoon, everyone, from SEAMEO INNOTECH. The webinar Fostering the I in AI, Unlocking the Potential of AI in Education will begin at 1 p.m. Good afternoon from SEAMEO INNOTECH. The webinar Fostering the I in AI, Unlocking the Potential of AI in Education will begin at 1 p.m. Good afternoon from SEAMEO INNOTECH, the webinar Fostering the I in AI, Unlocking the Potential of AI in Education, will begin at 1 p.m. Good afternoon from SEAMEO INNOTECH, the webinar Fostering the I in AI, Unlocking the Potential of AI in Education, will begin at 1 p.m. Good afternoon from SEAMEO INNOTECH, the webinar Fostering the I in AI, Unlocking the Potential of AI in Education, will begin at 1 p.m. Good afternoon from SEAMEO INNOTECH. The webinar Fostering the I in AI, Unlocking the Potential of AI in Education will begin at 1 p.m.
progress.
Good afternoon from SEAMEO INNOTECH. The webinar, Fostering the I in AI, Unlocking the Potential of AI in Education, will begin at 1 p.m. Good afternoon from SEAMEO INNOTECH. The webinar Fostering the I in AI, Unlocking the Potential of AI in Education will begin at 1 p.m. Good afternoon from SEAMEO INNOTECH. Welcome to the webinar Fostering the I in AI, Unlocking the Potential of AI in Education. I'm Genesis, and I will be your host for today's webinar. We're streaming from INNOTECH's Facebook and YouTube accounts, and I believe we already have viewers from Malaysia and Cambodia. And please say hi to us in the comments and let us know where country you're from so we can also say hi to you. If you have friends who are interested in learning more about AI, kindly share our stream, invite them to join us, and invite more friends, especially teachers and educators and students, so that we will all learn more together about AI. Because we know that in the recent years, we've witnessed the growth of AI, from chatbots to AI-powered virtual assistants to automating processes in different industries. AI has been more prominent than ever. We're now seeing the array of possibilities on how this concept has been applied. Artificial intelligence remains to be a wide growing resource of interactive and autonomous potential. Today, we aim to explore just how AI can benefit education. To kick off our webinar, let's hear the opening message from CEO INNOTECH's Center Director, Professor Leonor Magtolis Briones.
It is a great pleasure to welcome you to our webinar series, Fostering the I in AI, a series on artificial intelligence in education here in Southeast Asia. Education, much like technology and all other fields of knowledge, is ever evolving. It is our duty, our task as educators to ensure that our learners will be prepared to face the new challenges and respond to situations as they interact with our rapidly changing environment. Today, artificial intelligence, it's not just something which will happen in the future and which we have to prepare for, but it is here and now. It is a present reality. It is transforming every aspect of our lives as we go about our daily tasks and concerns, and that includes education. This webinar series aims to explore the immense potential as well as the challenges and the risks of AI in education, discussing its applications, its benefits, and the ethical considerations that come with it. We have gathered a diverse group of experts, educators, and policymakers to share their insights and experiences. Join us as we delve into how AI can enhance learning, personalize education, and address some of the most pressing challenges in the educational landscape. As we kick off this series with today's webinar on unlocking the potential of AI in education, it is my hope that all of us will be able to gather insights, gain clarity, and increase as well as enhance our interest in the use of technology as a potential tool for furthering educational advancement. Your participation today is a testament to the growing interest and commitment to leveraging AI for the future of education, as well as for the presence of education, because right now we already are undergoing AI. I encourage you to engage actively, ask questions, and share your thoughts as we embark on this exciting journey of discovery and innovation, as well as of challenges and risks. Together, let us foster our understanding of AI and explore innovative ways to advance our educational procedures, processes, practices, to enhance the learning experience for our students. Once more, welcome.
Thank you so much, Professor Briones, for that welcome, not just for this webinar, but for the series that is to come. So everyone, this is just the first one of the series, and we would like to see you in the next ones. But for now, just like what Professor Briones said, we encourage you to interact, to ask questions, to engage actively, and to share your thoughts today with everyone. To anchor today's webinar, let's hear about the state of artificial intelligence in education in Southeast Asia. Let us all welcome Mr. John Arnold S. Siena, Deputy Director for Programming Development at the SEAMEO Secretariat, Bangkok, Thailand.
A very good day to everyone. On behalf of SEAMEO Secretariat, under the leadership of Datuk Dr. Habiba Abdul Rahim, let me congratulate SEAMEO INNOTECH, headed by Director Leonor Magtolis Briones, for this webinar series on artificial intelligence in education in Southeast Asia. The 2023 Global Education Monitoring Regional Report on Technology in Education, co-developed by the SEAMEO and GEM report team based in UNESCO Paris, has noted the rapid but varying levels of adoption of digital technology in the region and its vast potential for teaching and learning. However, lack of infrastructure remains a barrier to technology integration, and children from poor households are less likely to access technology for learning. Meanwhile, based on the CPLM 2019 survey, 1 out of 3 grade 5 teachers in Southeast Asia is not very confident or not at all confident in using ICT in teaching and learning. The report also highlighted the variances in using digital technology in education. To illustrate, 57% of children in Southeast Asia, on average, have connectivity at home with a range of 16% to 98%, with children from the richest households are almost 8 times more likely to be connected at home than those from the poorest households. Moreover, children attending urban schools in Lao PDR and Myanmar are twice as likely to study with a computer as those in rural schools. Even while we are grappling with these challenges, we cannot be held back. We need to recognize that technology is here to stay and will even be more pervasive in education as it is in the other facets of our lives. We need to understand these technologies if we aim to use its full potential to improve our education systems. With the profound impact of advances in technology on education, this webinar series is very timely and relevant, even as we begin to understand this disruptive technology called artificial intelligence, or AI for short. Its ability to digest bulk of information swiftly, understand complex questions, and provide reasonable and human-like answers to users is simply astounding. There is so much more that we need to know about AI in the context of education. We have very patchy information and evidence on the effectiveness of technology in improving learning outcomes. Hence, this webinar series, along with other relevant initiatives, will help us better understand the potential of AI in improving teaching and learning and education systems as a whole. We look forward to your active engagement in this webinar series as we strive to equip ourselves with a competency that will ensure that we utilize to the fullest the affordances of AI to benefit our learners in Southeast Asia. We thank SEAMEO INNOTECH for providing this opportunity to capacitate our teachers and other education officials on AI in education. We also thank our experts and resource persons for their generous sharing of knowledge, insights, and experiences toward making this webinar meaningful, relevant, and useful to all our participants. Our collective efforts contribute to bringing SEAMEO to the forefront of the charge toward better quality of education and improved quality of life in the region. As always, SEAMEO, with all its centers and network, stands ready to provide assistance to its member countries whether in the form of policy advice and dialogue or capacity building that is built on evidence and best practice. Once again, congratulations to you all.
Thank you so much, Dr. Siena, for giving us a glimpse of the current state of digital technology and AI in education in Southeast Asia. There is much room for improvement when it comes to our grasp of AI and digital technology in Southeast Asia. But here at CEO INNOTECH, we always see this as an opportunity to serve you further for the future of our learners. And as I have seen a while ago, we already have viewers from Thailand, from Brunei, from Indonesia, and of course, Malaysia and Cambodia. Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining us. And please ask your friends, more of your friends to come. And a favor from our friends from Thailand, if you can ride a tuk-tuk and go to our friends in Vietnam, knock on their doors, please help us invite them to join our webinar. Okay. Ed, we know that before we started this webinar, we were already gathering questions regarding AI in education. And I'm sure you also have your own questions. So keep them coming. Please type them in at the comments section. Let us know your thoughts. Let us know your questions because later we will be tackling them during the Q&A portion of our webinar. And of course, let's also use this opportunity to speak to one another courteously about the topic. If you have thoughts regarding AI, kindly share them at the comments section as well, and let everyone know about it. And if you can, please share also your thoughts with one another. And now, we know that AI is multidimensional and it extends in ways beyond the application of technology that we know today. In education, it is considered to cover also, of course, the design, application, and evaluation of tools. Additionally, AI also asks the question of how educators can use it to provide a more enhanced learning experience for their students. AI in education is broad, and we invited an expert to help us unlock just how it can be utilized effectively today. Our speaker is an associate professor of computer science and information systems at the University of the Philippines Open University, where he teaches graduate courses in programming, languages, and artificial intelligence. He also serves as the director of the UP Open University ICT Development Office. His academic background includes his doctorate in computer science and information engineering from the National Cheng Kung University in Taiwan, and he also holds a bachelor and master's degree in computer science from the University of the Philippines in Los Baños. His research interests include artificial intelligence, the natural language processing, machine learning, recommender systems, and AI in education, and also e-learning platforms. Help me welcome everyone, Dr. Reinald Pugoy, as he guides us to exploring AI in education. Dr. Ring, are you here with us?
Yes, I'm here with
Hello.
you, all of you. Yeah, thank you. I thank you all for having me here. And I consider it a blessing and a privilege as well to be speaking to all of you regarding AI and many things surrounding AI, if you will. Before I start, let me just share my screen. Hold on. Uh, just a moment. I hope you can see my screen now. So again, thanks again for the humbling introduction. I am Dr. Reinald Pugoy from the UP Open University, and this is the outline of my entire talk this afternoon. We're gonna talk some introductory and definitions, and then we're gonna talk about the theory behind generative AI, which I would say the elephant in the room. Also, the possible uses of AI in education and research. And the second part of our program would be more on the hidden consequences or hidden risks of the utilization of AI in education and in general as well, and some parting words. Now, just to make sure that we are all on the same page. By the way, there are several definitions of AI, and I say that this is my definition for AI. It's a process of replicating human knowledge. That's why it's called artificial replicating human knowledge. And the basis of that human knowledge would be based on the training data, on the data that we produce on a daily basis. And that training data is actually powering AI so that it can perform different tasks such as classification, prediction, and generation with outstanding accuracy. The field of AI is actually a big one. And this afternoon, I'm going to give a little more focus when it comes to generative AI. This Gen AI actually led us to the breakout year of AI last year, 2023. And Gen AI, ChatGPT, Google Gemini, Copilot, so on and so forth, have become the recent buzzwords, right? And just to make sure, again, that we are all on the same page and to clear possible misinterpretations, AI is not equal to Gen AI. Again, Gen AI is just that subfield under AI. Gen AI can, well, the root word of generative is generate. It can generate or create new data in different formats, such as texts, images, videos, and audio. And it is able to do this by extracting or learning patterns again from the human provided data. That's it, or the training data set, so that it is able to generate new outputs. And then under Gen AI, we have large language models. Because I know some people confuse them, right? Confuse them with each other. We can say that sorry, that big field of AI, its grandchild is large language model. Okay, large language model is a type of Gen AI that is specifically designed to produce texts that resemble human written texts. For example, given a piece of text, let's say the capital of Taiwan is blank, the LLM has to predict how the text is likely to continue. Later on, we're going to talk about the large language models, but for now, some examples or free tools that we can use. We know that ChatGPT is the first LLM released for public use, right? It was released, if I'm not mistaken, November 2022. And then a competitor would be Google Gemini, and you can access them using these URLs, using these links. Again, going back to our illustration, again, that big umbrella is AI. Under AI is Gen AI, and under Gen AI, we have large language models, which would include ChatGPT, Gemini, Copilot, so on and so forth. I'm pretty sure that you will agree with me that AI is really converging with virtually every aspect of our lives. According to this online survey given to about 20,000 respondents from across 28 different countries, they were asked, how will AI change our lives? And the top answer is actually education, with about 35% of the respondents indicating such. According to UNESCO, AI has the potential to address some of our biggest challenges in education today, which would include innovating teaching and learning practices and the ultimate acceleration towards the achieving of the fourth sustainable development goal. I argue that the convergence of AI and education, it's really unprecedented. Why so? The field of AI is rapidly advancing. that in such a short span of time, we are witnessing progress after progress, advancements after advancements in terms of AI techniques, capabilities, algorithms, technologies. Another factor, AI is transformative and disruptive, that it has the potential to fundamentally change the way we live, we work, we study, we interact with our surroundings. And AI is here to stay. It's not going to go anywhere. As we keep on producing data day by day, then we are actually powering AI more and more. That AI is persisting and ubiquitous. Hence, as educators, what are our options? The first option, I would say the extreme option, do we just ban AI altogether because we expect people to misuse it? But again, I mentioned AI is here to stay. Or we become the bigger persons and we show them the way how to use AI in a more responsible manner. And we are educators here. I assume that majority of the participants in this webinar are educators. Hence, it is incumbent upon us to do the second option. Therefore, my encouragement is we adopt and adapt. Again, what we can do is to learn to adopt and adapt and preach the responsible use of AI, that we can embrace AI. And I'd say that this has become the trend in many first world countries, such as Singapore or Taiwan. And according to the Singapore Ministry of Education, they said it can be a useful tool for learning only when students have mastered basic concepts and thinking skills. This is why the Ministry of Education will also equip students with the skills to use AI responsibly. And with regards to this adopt and adapt and embrace, actually, last year, if I may share, the University of the Philippines Board of Regents released and approved the so-called principles for responsible and trustworthy AI. I'm not going to discuss everything about this, but I believe you can access this online. You can just do a quick Google search. And the challenge, or one of the things that the principals would want to address, how to promote positive and responsible use of AI and mitigate its negative consequences. Therefore, this policy, UP policy, is adopted first to provide the guardrails. And second, indicate the way forward on the development and use of AI, not only for the University of the Philippines, but for the whole of the Philippines as well. Next, as part of the only national university of the Philippines, well, UPOU, where I work, we are a fully online university. We also have our own guidelines on the use of AI in teaching and learning, because I'd say that being a fully online university, we have our unique nuances, if you will. We have our unique use cases. Therefore, we have our own. Because at UPOU, hold on, at UPOU, we acknowledge that the convergence of AI and education will transform teaching and learning in the digital age. And we also do believe that AI will play a big part in developing lifelong learning skills among learners. Well, we want to prepare our students in this AI-driven future. Again, we're like a broken record. AI is here to stay. We want to prepare everyone to live in that so-called post-AI world. Because if we don't do our part, then how can our people live in that world, in that post-AI world? And AI will not go anywhere, right? So it's something that we gotta think carefully. And this question, next question, hold on. In this AI-driven revolution, should we panic? I know that some people might be panicking or afraid of the unknown, right? However, I'd like to tell you, the panic surrounding AI is not that different when the first computers were created. The internet was released, and even the graphing calculators, right? We can imagine when the first computers were created, there were oppositions because they said that computers would take away jobs. But what what happened? We learned to adopt and adapt. We embrace computers. I can give this webinar because we have computers. We have the internet, right? It shouldn't be that any different when it comes to AI, right? Now, I'm gonna talk about the theory behind generative AI, LLMs to be specific. Don't worry, I'm gonna make this as less painful or bloody as possible. I'm not gonna turn you all into computer scientists, but hopefully you can have a minimal working understanding as far as LLM is concerned. Here is the basic premise behind LLMs, such as ChatGPT, Google Gemini. Again, I mentioned a few slides ago that they are trained on a ginormous amount of data gathered from all across World Wide Web to understand language. And its way of understanding language, of course, it's different from how we humans understand. We have brains, right? But LLMs do not have. The way of their understanding rely on statistics actually finding statistical patterns and relationships between words, sentences, and phrases. That's it. And let's talk about the key to the accuracy of LLMs. Again, I mentioned a language model guesses the next word. Or in other words, language modeling is just a complicated word for guessing the next word. Given a sequence of words, the AI has to guess the next word based on a probability distribution of possible words. And that kind of task is actually powering why large language models can get accurate. Now, how can we talk about the enormity of this particular task? You do this training, imagine the language model is a computer program that is programmed to learn after being exposed, after training using what? Ginormous amounts of data, billions of data, and do that training trillions of times. Now, how can it not get accurate with this? That's why these language models are also called autocomplete on steroids. I'd say that they're quite similar in nature to the autocomplete on your mobile phone's keyboards. It's something like that. A quick example here, let's say the center of the solar system is the blank. After the training, again, the training would involve billions of data. Repeat that for trillions of times. It will learn the probability distributions. Let's say that it learns that the sun has a 95% probability of being the answer or being the next word in the sequence. And then let's also say that the Earth would have 3% probability and Moon has 2% probability. And the AI has to simply select that word that has a high probability. That's it. You now know how LLMs actually work. Let me ask you these questions. So, do you still think that AI is sentient and has emotions? I know some people might think like that, or especially in the social media, right? So many kinds of posts. Now, if you're gonna tell me that ChatGPT is emotional, it's no different from telling me that probability distributions have emotions as well, which is actually ridiculous. Let's remember this. This is not a dangerous magic genie. This is again what? statistics executed on an enormous scale. I found this recent news article, which I completely agree. Gen AI is just advanced automation and not an existential threat. Just keep in mind. Now, let's talk about the uses of AI in education and research. Probably you are excited in this particular part, right? Mind you, there are several uses of AI in education. I cannot go through all of them, but I mentioned here the most common uses, if that is okay with everyone. We can use AI to generate course outlines. Later on, I'm going to show an example. We can also use AI to generate lesson plans, also to create and evaluate assessments and student work as well. And this can also help us to sharpen our research questions if we are into research, writing papers, journal articles, things like those. First example, I gave this particular prompt. This one is Gemini, Google Gemini. I've asked it, give me a course outline about basic Tagalog 101. Tagalog is a language in the Philippines, so those who don't know, all right? And assume students have zero knowledge. And you can just read here. It was able to give me a quite good course outline about basic Tagalog 101, including the description, course objectives, course structure, module 1 until module 5, even the subtopics for each module. Next, we can use it to create assessments. I've asked AI here, give me a 2-item multiple choice quiz regarding Philippine history. Each item should have 5 choices. Also indicate the correct answer. The good thing about the interaction with AI, we can be specific. Like I've indicated here, 5 choices. But if you want 10 choices because you want to make your students' lives harder, that is also fine. You can be as specific as that. And you can also ask the correct answer. Next example would be using AI to evaluate the work of our students. My example here, on a scale of 1 to 10, grade the following essay about the Philippines. And AI here gave a grade of 7 out of 10. Wow. It's not that high, right? But still a passing score. And the good thing about the response of AI here, it didn't only give the positive aspects, but it also gave constructive criticisms or constructive feedback and potential areas for improvement. Now, we can also use AI for conducting research in terms of improving the language of our paper or language of a specific paragraph or text. We can also use AI to aid us in doing our review of related literature. We can also use it to sharpen our research questions, also do some thematic analysis, recognizing patterns, and also designing certain experiments or virtual scenarios. Now, I'm going to show you here another series of examples. This one for improving the language of this particular sentence because this sentence is no good. So I asked AI, please improve. And then I provided the text that needs to be improved or enhanced. You can just review here the answers. The good thing, it gave options. And then it's up to you which one you will select, right? I mean, we see here how we can interact with AI. AI will give possible options. Still, we have to do our part. Which one would be the most suitable option? Next example would be aiding us in performing a review of related literature. The good thing about AI in this regard, AI can quickly identify relevant research or papers and summarize those findings. Because the older way to do this, we do Google search, right? And it will give us a list of results. And we still have to click and review each and every URL, right? Every result that it has returned. But AI in this regard actually made our lives a little easier. Because of that, AI can save research time and provide us a probably good understanding of existing work. Example, the prompt that I gave AI, I'm into Philippine history during American colonial period. Provide me relevant research papers with proper citations presented in a bulleted list. Again, I'm specific here, right? What I would like to mention, if we want to get good quality answers from AI, our prompts should be good quality as well. The more specific, the better, actually. And going back to our example, it gave me research papers on Philippine history during the American colonial period. And of course, it doesn't end with that. We still have to verify if that particular citation or research paper is actually existing, because AI can also hallucinate. Later on the second part of my talk, I'm going to talk about hallucination. But we still have to do our part to check, to verify if the answers given to me by AI is actually true. Because this happened to me before. I've actually asked AI, give me relevant research papers with proper citations about recommender systems, my research, and then it gave me seemingly convincing results or answers, if you will. But when I check Google Scholar, the references actually don't exist. Next example number 7, we can use AI to sharpen our research questions, even hypotheses. Because I'd say that the traditional way of doing these things, of identifying a research gap, what or how, we go to the library, we use Google search, Google Scholar, we talk to our colleagues, to human experts for possible consultations. I'm not saying that that is wrong, all right? Those are perfectly and thoroughly fine. But what I would like to emphasize right now, all of those existing efforts can now be supplemented with a conversation between AI and the researcher, such that we can provide AI with initial information or context about potential research questions. In other words, it's like a collaboration between researchers and AI. Because I argue that this would help us to think more broadly and creatively about our research questions. As an example, I am soon approaching, by the way, the end of the first part of my talk this afternoon. Let's go back to the example. Again, I'm a computer scientist, so I asked AI what topics or issues in theoretical computer science have been rarely explored or unanswered yet. It gave me quite acceptable answers, and after that, I asked AI, so based on what you mentioned above, formulate 10 relevant research questions. And I have my research questions here. And after this, what's next? I still have to do the rest of the hard work. In order for me to have a complete research papers, I still have to do my experiments. All those procedures I'm going to indicate in the methodology part, right? Again, AI here just provided us inspiration, and we still have to do the rest. All right. I hope that you get that particular point of mine. Some reminders. While AI can surely generate valuable outputs, human expertise and critical thinking are necessary to evaluate and refine those AI given outputs. We gotta consider those, again, as a starting point, not the final word. And while AI can increase our work efficiencies, we should treat it as our assistant and not as our replacement. We gotta always review and validate all those AI generated content to ensure accuracy. Why so? Because no AI model is actually 100% accurate. That is for the first part of my presentation this afternoon. And once we resume, we're going to talk about the hidden consequences or risks of the utilization of AI in education. I hope that you were able to get something from the first part of my talk. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Rain. Indeed, AI is here to stay, so we have to adapt and adopt AI. Sooner or later, it will happen. Thank you so much, Dr. Rain, and let's give you a little bit of rest. Everyone, can you give a clap react, or at least a type clap on the comments section? Thank you so much, Dr. Rain. We'll be right back in a few moments, but for now, I have a question for all of you. Do you think that after hearing from Dr. Rain, AI can further enhance education? You can cast your vote or at least type in the comments section yes or no if you agree with this statement. Do you think that AI can further enhance education? Okay, let's check the comment sections. Okay, see. Everyone, thank you so much, everyone, for participating. Can we see yung comment section? If I can have the link for it so we can read it online. Thank you so much. And we are seeing answers about our question. A lot of yeses, and I believe the knowledge about AI that we received a while ago demystified AI. So it's no longer a magic genie or a genie that can trick us. We can see it now for what it is. It is indeed a very, very big statistical tool handling a very, very big set of data. So thank you everyone for your answers. We are taking note of all of this. Yes. Mr. Mario Bebita Jr. says, I strongly believe yes, AI can enhance education as much as we educators objectively instruct our students in our students' utilization during discussion. Thank you po, sir. And if you have more comments, please share your thoughts with us. Hybrids says, yes, I do believe that AI can enhance education, for it enables the teaching and learning process to become more productive, but it has to be used responsibly. I agree completely. And some of us here, of course, would say, yes, absolutely, but with ethical considerations, says Miss Ruth Mary Punzalan. Do we have other comments? Let's see. Yeah. Keep your comments coming. Share your thoughts with everyone. And if you can interact with the comments, please do so. And, and later on, if you have any questions about AI, we'll take note of them and get back to it during our question and answer portion. Right? Since it seems that a big portion of our viewers believe that AI can enhance education, of course, I agree with this. Dr. Ring has shared with us different applications of AI. Now, since we already are convinced about its potential, we know that you still have some concerns around the concept of AI. And for this next part, Dr. Ring will continue to share and address just how much AI can change the educational landscape today and somehow, hopefully, address some of the concerns that we may have about AI. Dr. Ring, are you ready with us?
Yes, I'm ready.
Okay po. Right?
All right. So the second part of my talk this afternoon. Hold on. All right. Now, let's talk about the hidden consequences of the use of AI. You know what? There are many topics that I can talk about regarding this, but personally, I've selected my top four. First one would be hallucination. Another one would be biases and discrimination. Another is data privacy, and also the detection of AI generated content. Let's talk about hallucination. Hallucination is just a complicated word for making up facts. Now, when we are dealing with creative content or tasks that involve our imagination, then obviously hallucination is acceptable or even desirable. Because if you're going to write a short story, let's say, or a novel, it would involve you fabricating something, right? Or exploring some hypothetical scenarios. However, here's the thing. When we are dealing with factual content, well, in education or doing a Q&A or performing research, we gotta exercise more caution. We have to be skeptical of AI generated information. And like what I mentioned a little earlier, we gotta verify the facts or we gotta verify the answer given to us by AI using other reliable sources. Two quick examples here. I asked AI, this one is ChatGPT. I've asked it, who is the 10th Chancellor of UPOU? It gave me the answer, Dr. Melinda Bandalaria. However, UPOU only has 4 chancellors so far. Why is it talking about the 10th chancellor if we only have 4 chancellors, right? So that is hallucination. Another example here, I asked Gemini, who are the deans of UPOU? And the answer, UPOU has 4 faculties, each with its own dean. The problem here, we only have 3 faculties of study. The first 3 are existing, while the fourth one, Faculty of Computer Studies, that is absolutely fictional. Let us remember this. AI, specifically the large language models, can be deceptively convincing and confidently wrong, like your Marites on the Canto. To those who don't know what or who a Marites is, simply a gossiper who loves to gossip without verifying the information. Yeah. AI can generate authoritative, plausible sounding, grammatically correct statements, but the content is actually wrong. You saw earlier if you don't verify the examples here, you would easily believe the answers, right? That's why we have to be critical thinkers in this regard. And hallucinations can range from minor inconsistencies to completely fabricated, contradictory, or even dangerous statements. These large language models don't actually know what they are saying. I mentioned earlier, statistics. Statistics is the basis of the understanding. LLMs know what an answer should look like, know what an answer should sound like, but incapable of human like reasoning or understanding. That's why LLMs are also referred as stochastic parrots. They learn to talk like a person, but does not really understand what it is saying. And another example here, a quite interesting tweet. It says here, ChatGPT and other large language models are the ultimate, the BS word, all right? I don't need to say that. Because they are designed to be plausible and therefore persuasive without no regard or connection to the truth. Another issue, biases and discrimination. Again, large language models are powered by data gathered from all across the World Wide Web, which may contain different kinds of biases: social, societal, cultural, political, religious, or even gender-based biases. If the training dataset contains biases, then the AI would inherit whatever biases are contained in the training dataset. And we all know that these large language models are Western creations, right? And we can imagine that they are trained on predominantly Western dataset. So don't be surprised if ChatGPT, Google Gemini sound Western, potentially overlooking or misrepresenting non-Western viewpoints. An example here, I've asked Google Gemini, what are the two best utensils that we can use to eat? If you are from the West, you would agree with the answer, fork and knife. But if you are a Filipino, your answer is what? Spoon and fork. If you are Taiwanese, Korean, Chinese, or Japanese, your answer probably would be chopsticks, right? Biases. Another issue would be on the data privacy. Let me talk about certain principles first. AI systems are trained using a ginormous amount of data, unfortunately, may include sensitive personal information. Example. Last year, the so-called AI yearbook app went viral, right? Because you wanted to see yourself to be what? Prettier or more handsome. You want to see a different version of yourself. But when this app was actually released for public consumption, off the top of my head, at that particular moment, those people using this AI yearbook app was unknowingly providing your images to the AI company on a silver platter. Free data set for the AI company. What did you gain? You only gained what? Better pictures. But what did the company behind the AI yearbook gain? They gained your pictures. They gained free training data sets. Possibly, right? That's why we gotta be careful when it comes to sharing whatever information that springs forth from us. Here is the central question. Do we want our personal data to be used without our explicit consent, potentially contributing to the AI systems that may not align with our values? Right? And here are my suggestions. We gotta think before we share. we gotta carefully consider whatever information we share or we post online because they can be used by AI. Remember this saying, whatever goes online stays online forever. And another thing, never give or include personal or sensitive information as part of the prompt through the AI tool. An example here, you don't need to tell AI the name of your ex-girlfriend just to write what? A letter to respond to her because you are heartbroken, right? You don't need to provide that kind of information. But if you must do this, then you can do that on the third person view. And the last but not the least issue here would be the detection of AI generated content. Many studies, many people, even based on my personal experiments, they are not effective. Because these AI generators or the large language models are constantly being improved and they become more and more sophisticated. It's like an endless game of cat and mouse. The AI generator will improve, the AI detector will improve, AI generator will improve. It's endless. And it's quite easy to fool the AI detectors. You know what? I did this. I generated something using ChatGPT, and then I changed some words, few words. And when I used the AI detector tool to check the content that I mentioned, it failed in detecting AI content. It's actually challenging because there is no universal agreement on what an AI written text is. There are just so many intersections between an AI written text and a human written text. And in my case, you know what? I've encountered students in the past, my students, AI write better than them. Yeah, so how can you deal with that kind of dilemma? And another sub issue in this particular issue, relying on AI detection tools would lead to type 1 and type 2 errors, false positives and false negatives. Student work being detected as AIs and AI work being detected as students. And what will you do? Let's say you use this AI detector, but the student is crying, telling you he or she did not commit any dishonesty. How can you make yourself convinced, right? And to deal with AI generated content, there are many possible actions, but these are my suggestions, my two favorite suggestions. First one would be manual benchmarking. Let's say at the start of the semester, you can ask your students to write something about a particular topic so that you can use that beginning of the semester work of the student as your reference for the rest of the semester. When you start suspecting if a particular student actually is committing AI-based dishonesty. That's one. And another suggestion would be instituting AI-specific honor codes. Honor codes generally have been shown to be effective in combating academic dishonesty and misconduct. You can check Google Scholar. You can check prior research papers. They are actually effective. You can require your students to answer this, to commit to your honor code, again, at the start of the semester. And if you're going to ask me, my favorite suggestion here, or what I prefer, is the honor code. Yeah. In each and every class that I handle, I ask my students, you have to answer this honor code. You have to commit on that. You have to sign on that. Now, we are approaching the end of my talk. AI is simply a tool. AI is good if the person using it is good. AI is bad if the person using it is bad. It entirely depends on the person using it. It's like a knife, right? Knife is neither good nor evil. Knife is good if you can use it to slice your favorite meat or sashimi in your kitchen. But knife is bad if you use that to hurt others or to murder people. Then let me show you this AI belief spectrum. You know what? As I've been observing people, how they respond, to the rise of AI, there are two extremes. The leftmost extreme would be AI should be completely banned. And the other extreme would be AI is a god. AI is a godlike entity. Of course, we subscribe to neither extremes, but we promote the responsible and balanced use of AI because AI is simply a tool to be used responsibly. We agree. I can imagine we agree that there are many opportunities for AI in education. And I can imagine that that is the basis why we have this webinar this afternoon by SEAMEO INNOTECH. While we are embracing those opportunities, we have to be aware of its weaknesses, of its pitfalls, that it is incumbent upon us to teach our students, our various stakeholders, to approach AI with a careful and critical eye. It is up to our respective academic freedoms. We gotta think, what's the design of your classroom? What are your course objectives, learning outcomes? How we will employ AI if ever you decide so. We also have to rethink our assessment methods in our classrooms. And final reminders, sure, I'm like a broken record, but it's fine to be a broken record so that we remember what needs to be remembered. Again, AI can always hallucinate. It can generate plausible nonsense. That's why we gotta always exercise caution. Be critical thinkers. That is our favorite word this afternoon, critical. Be critical thinkers. And employing any AI tool should always be done with human oversight and guidance. We should not treat AI given results as gospel truths. That's why we gotta review and revise the answers given to us by AI. And another important reminder, the Terminator is extremely unlikely to come. Do not listen to the doomsdayers because the confusion surrounding AI is simply made worse by the depictions in science fiction, in literary and cinematic works, or whatever we watch on TV or Netflix. Again, we have to remain educated about AI, resist any cynicism and fear surrounding this technology. And I'm going to end my PPT with this quotation from a certain Millard from Michigan, a high school English teacher. I've been to former students' weddings and baby showers and funerals of their parents. I've hugged my students. I've high-fived my students. I've cried with my students. A computer will never do that. Ever, ever, ever. And with that, I thank you all for listening.
So much, Dr. Ring, for this whole thing that we have learned from you. Of course, everyone, it's time really to be a broken record as well, be critical thinkers. And AI is here to stay, though because of what Dr. Rain shared with us, I believe we've seen the limitations of AI. We've seen the pitfalls of using AI. So we have to be responsible in using it. And just like as Dr. Rain said, AI can only be as good as the person using it. So let us all learn more about AI by going to our question and answer portion. Dr. Rain, would you be ready to answer some of the questions from our viewers? Dr. Rain?
sure, we can proceed to the Q&A.
Okay, we're ready. All right. So, Dr. Ring, we'll begin with the easier questions from YouTube. So we have one here. I think this is a concern, everyone's concern. Do you think that AI can make students lazy? Why or why not?
Can I answer that question with another question?
Sure, sure po.
Computers and calculators make our students lazier. Same approach.
And that is a very quick response. A very brief response from the question. But that makes sense because calculators help us do enormous tasks. And maybe the same with AI, of course. With calculators, the task is much faster, but it does not make us lazier. However, I don't. On the contrary, it makes us more productive, and I hope that's the same thing with AI. Okay, and you mentioned something about assessment a while ago, Dr. Rain. We also have a viewer asking about assessment. I heard that some teachers already shifted their assessment approaches. So, an example, we're no longer providing essay exercises because they know that they can just type in, please make me an essay about this topic. And so, how can teachers implement more authentic assessments within the age of AI?
Well, I'm thinking of two possible answers right now, but let me see. How can we make assessments more authentic? Because it's about, well, I understand that the fear or the worry surrounding this question is, what if the student submits a work that is not his or her own, right? I'm assuming that that is the sense of the question. I also would like to answer that question with another question. Even before the rise of AI, how do we confirm that the work of the student is not made by his parents? How do we make sure that the work of the student is not the work of his neighbor or of someone else? The approach or the answer to this question would be similar to how we should approach the content that might be possibly written by AI, right?
That is true. And indeed, sometimes the fear is there, but in actuality, it doesn't happen as often as we fear it would. And thankfully, we also have AI verification tools. Like we can check if the content was created by AI already. And
Or
yes, yes,
Genesis,
sir.
I'd like to add something as well. Because in my case, in one of my classes, I don't actually forbid my students to use AI. Okay, do whatever you like. But when I ask you, like I ask them for something like similar to recitation, you know, something similar to recitation, then I will be able to assess their understanding of the subject matter. It doesn't matter to me the source of their answers, whether it is AI or other references online. But if the student is able to effectively synthesize, effectively understand whatever he has learned from those various sources, then that is fine with me. Yeah, you can do another kind or another layer of verifying the understanding or the learning of the student.
Thank you so much, Dr. Rain. And yes, I hope that gives our teachers ideas on what really matters in the assessment. If it's merely the written thing, the output, or if it's really the understanding of the student. And I think Dr. Lin is pointing out something very important here. We move beyond what we see here, the paper or the output, and more on the quality inside the minds of our students and learners. Thank you, Doctor. We have more questions coming from Facebook, some regarding policies, some regarding upskilling. And this is one interesting question. How do we prevent a situation where only well-funded schools and wealthy students have access to advanced AI-driven education tools? If you remember earlier during our keynote speech, Dr. Sir Siena shared with us the gap between the economic status of the students, that some have really 8 times more access to technological tools, ICT tools, than the poorer ones. So, again, to reiterate the question, how do we prevent a situation where only well-funded schools and wealthy students have access to advanced AI-driven educational tools?
Well, the answer to this question is not only because of AI, but similar to what was mentioned earlier in the introduction and what you just mentioned a few seconds ago, Genesis, would be how do we make sure that everyone has equitable or fair access to these ICT tools? I'm not only talking about AI, but I'm talking about computers in general, because let's face it, not everyone can buy what MacBook, or not everyone can even buy the most affordable computers. So if we want to ensure equity when it comes to AI tools, we have to answer the first question first. How do we ensure fairness and equity when it comes to having access to, to the regular computers, to the regular technologies? And once we are able to pinpoint the answer to that question, then we can talk about equity and fairness to AI tools, access to AI tools.
Okay. Thank you so much for that. And we always go back to a question that's more basic than the ones we are asking about AI.
Absolutely.
Yes,
Yes.
yes. Because indeed, there are more fundamental issues that need to be addressed before we even specify our questions about AI. So let's go to a more. I suppose we cannot go back to the basics here because we're asking about, are there AI offline apps that can be used in teaching reading for struggling readers in grade 1 level? This
Sorry.
is are there offline AI apps that you can recommend that teachers can use teach reading for struggling readers, especially in grade 1?
Offline AI.
AI app. Yes.
Well, offline AI tools. And who are gonna use these free offline AI tools?
Teachers who are teaching grade 1 students for reading. For reading.
Well, not that many, as far as I can remember, because as we all know, the most popular ones would be ChatGPT and Google Gemini. But I'm just wondering, why does the asker want an offline version of the AI?
Yeah, we go back to the equitable distribution of our AI tools because some
Yes.
areas in the Philippines do
Yeah,
not
that's
have
true.
consistent internet access,
Yeah,
or
yeah.
maybe in other parts of
Mhm.
Southeast Asia. Perhaps that's the
Yeah, that's
reason.
actually true. And I may not have a straightforward or straightaway answer right now, but that is actually a very interesting research topic that we can further explore. Yeah, I agree with equitability. I agree that we have to achieve sustainable development goal number 4, that everyone has access to quality education. And if AI enables quality education, but the users wouldn't have access to AI, it's like a conundrum or a paradox, right? Yeah. So I would encourage to those people who are into AI research, do your research regarding achieving SDG number 4 and AI. That's it.
Okay. Okay, thank you so much, Dr. Pugoy. And another app, someone is asking for an AI detector tool that can be effective to detect AI generated outputs. Are there free applications that we can use? And if you can recommend any, Dr. Pugoy, that would be very good.
Well, personally, I don't like AI detector tools, so it would go against my principle to suggest an AI detector tool about something that I don't agree with. Sorry about that. But if you must use whatever results given to you by AI detector tools, treat them with a super grain of salt, if you will.
Yes.
Yeah, because even the even the creators of OpenAI and the other companies, they already mentioned that they tried to develop their own detector tool, but they said that it didn't work. Well,
I
I'm
see.
thinking of a specific AI detector tool. I believe there is something that is integrated with Turnitin, but again, treat the results with super grain of salt.
Okay. Thank you so much, Dr. Pugoy. Actually, I remember one instance where I read an output of my OJT. So I plugged it in an AI detector tool, and it turned 100% AI. It declared 100% AI generated content. But when I asked my OJT if that was true, what he told me was that he only used Grammarly
Mhm.
to enhance the output of his letter. So I was wondering, I realized that these AI detector tools can sometimes, well, like what you said, it has to be taken with a lot, with maybe a jar of salt, not just a pinch of salt, also a jar of salt, because it can lead us to falsely accuse someone of using AI generated content when it's not. Okay. Do we have, let me ask our, our organizers here, do we have time for a few more questions? And just one more question. Okay, let me go to the policy-based question because I believe this is one of the harder questions to answer. So this one, for the last question, what regulatory frameworks and standards should be established to govern the development and deployment of AI in
Yeah,
education?
yeah, that is very suitable for a final question. Because here, if we're gonna talk about, well, before that, can I ask if the asker is a Filipino or from other Southeast Asian countries? If that is
He is, the person is Filipino.
yeah, because we don't really have a framework here in the country. The nearest framework would be what I mentioned a little earlier. The UP Principles for Responsible and Trustworthy AI can refer to that, or UPOU's guidelines for AI teaching and learning. But if you want a more comprehensive one or a better, what, quote unquote, better literature, I believe that European countries, the EU, is quite advanced in this regard. Yeah, they're quite advanced. You can also refer to their guidelines or materials if you are considering some sort of framework. But before that, you can check our own framework first. Maybe you can see if that is also applicable to your own situation or circumstance.
Okay. Thank you so much, Dr. Rain, and we really appreciate that you graced us with your wisdom on AI. I personally learned a lot, especially the part where you demystified how AI worked in the background, how it's a really useful and powerful statistical tool that analyzes very gazillions of data. Thank you so much for sharing with us your expertise and insights regarding AI in education. And I believe that most of us, if not all, are convinced of just how much potential it holds to enhance the outcomes of education in our world today, especially here in the Southeast Asian region. Thank you so much, Dr. Rin, and everyone. Please comment, clap, react, or maybe say a very personal message to Dr. Rin Pugoy on our comment section. Increase your interactions with us so we can read them also. And we would love to see how you would react. And of course, if you have final reactions, especially to the answers of Dr. Pugoy, please comment them and maybe we'll let him know about these things. Or maybe you can also enroll to UPOU so we can meet him and ask your questions in person. All right. Now, to formally end our learning session for today, let's hear a message from Dr. Ferdinand Pitagan, the Director of DepEd Philippines Information and Communications Technology um, Service and SEAMEO INNOTECH's Governing Board Chair for the Philippines.
Isang pinagpalang araw po sa lahat. A blessed day to everyone. I believe we are in collective engagement and agreement of the transformative power of technology in education. EdTech would continuously evolve. According to research in online learning, by 2030, it would be a 1 trillion industry. And artificial intelligence at present, it is in the forefront of the innovative discussions on technology integration. AI is offering countless opportunities and yet thought provoking challenges. But nonetheless, it is revolutionizing education with its immense possibility. It is beckoning us all to reimagine the way we teach, the way we learn, and even provide educational service. It is therefore imperative, my dear learners, educators, trainers, leaders, service providers, and colleagues, to recognize the profound impact of AI and its offering to education. From the analysis to design, implementation, assessment of curriculum, content, resources, delivery, alternative systems, even assessment and others, to data-driven analytics that would inform programs, policies, processes, and practices. AI has the potential to transform the way we engage knowledge and information. In reflecting with our discussion today surrounding AI in education, I am always reminded of the boundless possibilities that lies before us. The journey may be challenging, and yet, just like you, I am very optimistically excited for the future. It is not enough to know or acknowledge the potential of AI, but we have together actively explore and harness its power for the betterment of education and, of course, the country at large. I urge every one of you to carry the insights and inspirations gained today. Let us not simply dwell on the possibilities, but rather let us actively work together, realizing that each of your contribution is an invaluable aspect of how we would shape Philippine education. As we end, I am filled with profound sense of gratitude and hope. Our time together today has been a testament of the power of collaboration, innovation, and collective vision. Together, let us continue to push the boundary of what is possible, embracing technology as a tool for empowerment, inclusion, and transformation. Let us build a future where every individual, especially the Filipino learner, has the opportunity to thrive and succeed regardless of their background or circumstances. Thank you very much. Pabuhay po tayong lahat. Mabuhay po ang Pilipinas.
Thank you so much, Dr. Pitagan. And we are also excited for the future because of the developments that are coming. And I'm also hoping that all of you viewers are excited for the next webinar sessions that we have here at SEAMEO INNOTECH. But before we let you go, we'd like to share just a few things with you. First, we have the Southeast Asian Educational Innovation Awards Cycle 2. We are now calling for nominations. Nominate a teacher, a school head, or educator that has developed and implemented learning innovations. Learn more about CEIA through the link that you see on your screen. We also have a new publication that is now available on our website. We have Towards Able Readers and Adept Learners, a conceptual framework for technology-enabled early grades reading interventions. This is a research brief that gives an overview of school-based technology-supported reading interventions in the country. Access this brief through the link that you see on your screens. bit.ly/degree-arrow. And last and third, we are calling all of Thailand's youth go-getters. Project Youth Connect is opening applications for youth-led initiatives. The deadline is Friday, June 7, that's next week, 5 p.m. Don't miss this opportunity for valuable resources, mentorship, and networking to kickstart your career and personal growth. Access the application form via bit.ly/pyc 5U, as you can see on your screen. And lastly, this webinar, Unlocking the Potential of AI in Education, is the first of many included in our webinar series called Fostering the I in AI. From June to July, we will be sharing more information for the upcoming webinars. Make sure to follow us on our social media accounts so that you're up to date. But most importantly, look forward to something special this August 2024. And for those who are wondering, here's how to get your e-certificate for today's session. Kindly answer our end of program evaluation form. You may access it by scanning the QR code shown in your screen or by clicking the link we have posted on the comments section. The survey will be open until the end of today, 31 at 11:59 p.m. Philippine Standard Time. The certificates will be shared to you at a later time, so follow us on social media and stay tuned for updates. Thank you very much to all our viewers on Facebook and YouTube, for our speakers and for our resource persons, for our keynote, for Dr. Ellen Lee, of course, for Sir Pitagan. We hope everyone had an informative and meaningful time with us. Once again, I'm Genesis for SEAMEO INNOTECH, and we will all see you in the next webinar.